Hi there. So I wanted to talk today about mental health. As far as disclosure goes, though I do have some medical background, I'm not a doctor. Please, if you have any depression or you think you might have something going on, seek a professional for medical help. The sooner the better. Remember, depression hurts everyone, whether you realize it or not. So, I have a 2-year-old in the background. Mind you, children are not a cure for depression. You are a symptom of theirs, but maybe that's just my depression talking. Anyway, first step to recovery is to identify the problem. What is it, and why is it happening? It's best to identify why does it affect you, and why do you allow it to affect you. So, in a lot of cases, when you allow something, a lot of cases you can fight it, and it's hard to maintain or manage without therapy or medication or both. However, there are some things, unless it's an extreme case, that you can distract or divert your thoughts if they're of the negative nature. And you always hear those cliches that you should take your negative energy and turn it into something positive, so you're not harming people, or your work doesn't suffer, etc., etc. And that's true in a lot of cases, but that doesn't work for everyone. Not everyone has the ability to just distract and turn it off. Sometimes you need help. So right now I am considering a few things, and this is my way of helping myself. So a doctor can give you advice. They can give you tools. Some of the tools I've learned are self-talk, which really helps a lot. It's basically having a conversation with yourself as if you're two people. The rational and then the irrational. And when you're feeling emotional, you need to turn on that rationality. You need to look outside the box. And that can be difficult without practice. So it's best to practice when you're not feeling your lowest points. When you're feeling alert and awake and yourself, that's the best time to practice self-talk. Sorry, I've been having an emotional morning, but I wanted to make sure I got this video out. So the next points are, why do you allow it to affect you? So again, from an emotional standpoint, it can't always be helped, but in the end, it can always be helped. Now, what do I mean by that? If you shove it to the back of your mind and say, oh, it's okay, I always pull through, I'll just pull through again. Well, someday you might not pull through again. Sorry, I'm recording this on my phone. Someday you might not pull through again. So it's best to help yourself by not letting it affect you, by seeking help. Does that make sense? Seeking help. It takes a strong person to seek help, and if you're suffering depression, you're already a strong person, because every single day it's a struggle just to do your everyday, regular things. So, oh man, I have to apologize. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be this emotional while talking about it, but this is very real stuff. Yeah, sometimes just getting out of bed is like the hardest chore you'll have all day. But one of my counselors had said, it takes 2 seconds to get yourself out of bed. Throw your feet over, pull your body up, and start walking. So, when you feel hesitant to do something that could be good for you, in those 2 seconds it takes to get out of bed, you make a decision whether to lay down or to get up. Every hard thing, everything that should be normal for you, or most people find normal, making coffee in the morning, getting your breakfast together, getting your kids out of bed, those things, it takes 2 seconds to make the decision and to execute. Don't think too much on it. Just do it. Because if you take more than 2 seconds to think on something that you know you have to do and you know how to do, your depression is going to pull the other direction, and you're going to instead see comfort. You don't need to be comforted all the time. You don't need to be in bed all the time with the lights out. That is the most comfortable, desirable space. At least for me. It's that in the shower, which I take too long in also. Well, today, I didn't let it affect me today. Today, I took a shower, I just cleaned my body, and I got out. I wasn't enjoying the water. Because when I stay in there too long enjoying the water, then I start having too much time to think. And too much thinking time is what's hurting me. The next point is, what would you like to see happen? So you know where you're at. What do you want in your life that you see around you? And then what can you do to make that happen? It's good to break down these things and, it's good to break down these things into small goals that are easy to achieve. Because then you set a goal, you take that step, then you take the next step, and then you're on your way to achieving whatever that thing is that you want in your life. Whether it's more time at the park with your pets, or, more patience with your children, more smiles and laughter with your partner. There are always steps to take to get there. And most people don't realize this. It comes so naturally. But when you're feeling depressed, it doesn't come naturally. It's work. And then my final point is take action. Thinking about it all day and just talking about it is not enough to actually achieve your goal. Don't think, so my points are, don't think about it too long. Jump up, take action, just do whatever it is that you need to do, that you want to get done. Because too much alone time, too much thinking time, unless you're doing something productive or proactive, it's just not good for you. Everybody needs a little alone time. Like, I like to read, I like to write and draw. But if I'm doing these things and I'm thinking too long, on staying stunted on my negative thoughts, my feelings get worse and worse and worse. So that's where I need to take action and find something else to do. And it helps to have someone to talk to. Like I said, not a medical professional. I do have my CNA. I have some. I've had some courses in therapy and massage therapy. I know how to understand people, but only when they're being their truest. It's really hard to be honest with yourself and identifying the problem and accepting. It's not just admitting you have a problem. You could say all day, oh yeah, I'm upset, but it's accepting that you have a problem is the first step, the first real step to recovery. And when I say recovery, depression is a lifelong disease. Some people get depressed sometimes, but chronic depression really is for life. So I'm not going to say that you'll be cured, but learning to cope and learning to manage, that's the real goal here, is to manage a healthier, more positive lifestyle so your depression isn't all-consuming, so that it isn't affecting those around you as much. There's a couple other things I wanted to talk about. So motivation. Motivation's a tough one. Once you get to the point where you can take action. Okay, so, when people with chronic depression are not 100% depressed 100% of the time. We fluctuate. If you're in a bad spot in your life or disaster things are happening left and right, it can be really hard to cope. But when you get to your point, the point where you are at your healthiest, you're feeling the happiest, it can be 1 or 2 points of the day. It could be after an event, a happy event like a birthday party, or you just went to Six Flags with your friends and you saw this cool movie, or you just had some, alone time with your significant other. When you're at your highest, it's best to set yourself some small goals and write them down. This is what I want to do. This is when I want to do it. And giving yourself a time, like a timetable, like a time limit, is also very helpful. I want to get the dishes done by Thursday at 5 p.m. Then when you start having those thoughts, those negative feelings and those destructive, self-destructive thoughts, it's best to open that notebook. What's your next goal? What can you get done? And then don't think about it, just do it. Because you already have it written down. You've already thought about it when you were at your highest. So now that you're at your lowest, it's time to take action. And then once you've accomplished that goal, then the dopamine starts. And you start feeling good about accomplishing your goal. And that can pull you out of your lowest points. But like any process, you have to be the one to put in the effort. You have to actually do it. You can't just think about it. And it's one of the hardest steps to actually take action, where, especially if it's outside of your natural routine. But you'll feel so much better when you do. You'll start feeling like a whole person. So that's depression and motivation. Okay, so the next step is diet and exercise. Oh boy. I'm not going to preach to the choir on this one. It's winter. I live in Wisconsin. It's cold. Diet and exercise are very important, and they do have effects. What you put in your body is what your body's going to process, is what's going to affect you. Physical and mental status. But again, I can't really preach this one. I'm not good at it myself. When I was pregnant 2 years ago, I was so dedicated to having a healthy baby that I ate basically only healthy foods. And at that time it was easier because I had a goal. I had my daughter. But now now I eat junk food every single day. I do try to exercise though. I mean, that's one of those things that you can write yourself. I knew this one guy, anytime he got upset or depressed, instead of lashing out or breaking down, he would actually start exercising, and that dopamine made him a lot happier. There's also something called a runner's high. You just go for a jog, you just go for a run. If it's winter, go to a gym and jog indoors. You know, that's what treadmills are for. It's what ellipticals are for. And these things, you know, physical activity gets the blood pumping and also releases dopamine. So, and that's what you want. If you don't, you know, I don't have any control over anybody's lifestyle. I choose not to do drugs. There's a lot of people who cope with depression by starting an addiction. And for those of us, and including myself, who have addictive personality types, you're very drawn to things that are not good for you. And it's a personal battle for me, because I would love to just turn to cigarettes or alcohol or anything terrible for me, and I could get my hands on it fucking easy. I know so many people who do this shit, but I'm not going to. And the reason for that is I have self goals, and self goals are to better myself and to keep myself the kind of role model that I want for my daughter. So family is a really big self-motivator also. All right, I think that's it from me. I'm sorry for all the tears. And I'm sorry my phone keeps going off. And this is a very long video, so I was expecting 10 minutes. I got going on 18. I'm going to say goodbye here, and if you need someone to talk to, if you want some advice from somebody who's going through it the same as you, feel free to write in the comments. I'm gonna check my comments maybe once a week, or whenever, you know, YouTube gives me pop-ups, and anytime I get a pop-up, I always check it. So, you know, you always have a friend, you always have someone, even when you feel like you have no one. So take care. God bless.